The food and drink we consume, they all possess five basic flavors: sour, spicy, bitter, umami, and sweet. Of course, sweet tastes are triggered by foods containing various types of sugars such as sucrose, glucose, and fructose. However, conventional sugars are not the only triggers for sweetness. There are several chemicals which can also activate the receptors responsible for taste, and often these are known as artificial sweeteners. Known about and utilized since the late 19th century, artificial sweeteners are an increasingly popular ingredient in a wide variety of foodstuff due to their low calorie content as well as their reduced cost when compared to regular sugar. Artificial sweeteners are also useful, if not vital, to those with diabetes as they allow diabetics to enjoy sweets without the health implications of eating straight sugar. In today's video on the Chem Vibes, we are going to rank some of the most popular as well as widely used artificial sweeteners, and we're going to discuss how sweet they are as well as any possible health effects that are associated with them. Okay, so rather than jumping straight into artificial sweeteners, I think it's best if we set a baseline of some sort. So our baseline today is sucrose, and sucrose is known as table sugar, and it's the most widely known and utilized sweetener worldwide. So let's do a quick chemistry lesson. So all chemicals that exist on Earth are made up of tiny elements, and you can find all the elements ever discovered here in the periodic table. So sugar, for example, is made up of elements carbon, oxygen, and hydrogen. And these elements are connected in a particular way, and we use letters and symbols and shapes to represent them. Okay, good. Now you get the hang of it. So, like I was saying, when comparing relative sweetness either for sugar or artificial sweeteners, sucrose serves as the reference point with an arbitrary score of 1. So, given the sweet and addictive nature of sucrose, there are ongoing concerns about its overconsumption and the associated negative health effects such as weight gain, diabetes, and dental plaque formation. So now, moving on to actual artificial sweeteners, we first have sucralose. And if you look closely, sucralose is like a modified version of sucrose, where we switch up some of the oxygens and the hydrogens for chlorine. And this replacement, it creates a corrupted version of the original sugar. But this corruption actually makes sucralose about 600 times sweeter than sugar, and that's making it one of the most potent artificial sweetener. So it's like when the spider bit Peter and he turned into Spider-Man. The change was good in the end. So sucralose is 600 times sweeter because it can bind and stimulate the receptors at a much lower concentration or a much lower amount. So it's been around for a while on the market because it was first discovered in 1976, and more importantly, it can't be metabolized or broken down by the body. So that's making it zero calorie sweetener, and research surrounding the compound has shown no major health complications regarding its consumption. So it's added to several soft drinks and beverages, so you'll find it in low-calorie alternatives such as Diet Coke and V8, for example. But it's also sold and packaged on its own, with the most popular trade name being Splendor. For reference, these zero-calorie sugar packets they often contain fillers because if it was only the straight sucralose, then there'll be barely anything that's in the packet. And the drawback with sucralose is its aftertaste. So sucralose kind of has a metallic aftertaste, especially at larger amounts, but some people may not detect this aftertaste. So apart from that, I would give sucralose a rating of 8 out of 10. Another major artificial sweetener of the 21st century is known as saccharin, and it has been the subject of major controversies, regulations, and even bans. So early research had shown that it could cause bladder cancer in rats, and this raised many concerns about whether saccharin could be carcinogenic to humans, and this is what led to regulations and the bans. However, research findings after showed that even though saccharin could cause cancer in rats, it wouldn't cause cancer in humans as it was two different mechanisms. But nonetheless, all these controversies led to the fall of saccharin, So it's not so popular these days. However, saccharin is about 300 times sweeter than sucrose, and it also has a metallic bitterish taste, aftertaste. So because of all of that, I would give saccharin a rating of 6 out of 10. Okay, the final two on my list, asulfame potassium, ASK for short, and aspartame. So these two, they roughly have the same relative sweetness. So they're about 200 times sweeter than sugar. ASK has no calories associated with it, but aspartame technically can be metabolized by the body, but the amount to achieve sweetness is so small, so these calories, they are negligible. Funny story, a lot of these sweeteners were actually discovered by accident. So scientists they were working on getting some of the chemicals on their fingers and accidentally tasting it. But generally this is not a good practice. Anyways, so typically aspartame and ASK are used in diet sodas and similar low calorie products. Regarding their health effects, both have no major or noticeable side effects in standard doses and no carcinogenic effects. So, however, people with the rare disorder called PKU, they have to stay away from aspartame though. And aspartame is not heat stable, so it will break down at high temperatures, and that's making it unsuitable for baking and cooking. But aspartame does have a cleaner taste compared to the others. So I would rate aspartame 8 out of 10 and ASK. So you'll 7 often out of see 10. Some products with a blend of different artificial sweeteners, and this is as a way how to mask the different aftertastes. Wait, there's one more. I saved the best for last. Neotame is an upgraded version of aspartame. So it's manufactured by NutraSweet and it's an intense sweetener. It's about 8,000 times sweeter than sugar. So you could taste it from a mile away. It has minimal aftertaste, it's more heat stable, so for sure it's 10 out of 10. What do you think about artificial sweeteners? Comment down below and thanks for watching. Until next time, stay curious.